Hi, I'm Aurijit from Bizwin, and today we are going to cover a topic which is very interesting and exciting. So then now we are going to move into the how do we create this value. There are certain step-by-step approaches. Now here we have outlined 7 steps and we will go into the details one by one. Let me first mention what the 7 steps are. Number 1 is identify an opportunity or problem to solve. Now if you are building or if you are packing value into your product or solution or service, it's very crucial to understand what problem you are trying to solve or what is the opportunity in the market that you need to find out either through primary or secondary research. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is define your ideal customer. You have a product or a service. You are packing value based on your research. And you know this is a problem which I can solve, or this is an area of need or interest which I can fulfill. Now the second step is you must define who is the ideal customer who will consider this value relevant and very important for their business purpose. Number 3. Now step number 3, linking buyer utilities to product features and performance. This is very important. So as a step number 3, we must understand that we can obviously provide lots of features, lots of functionalities, lots of service elements, lots of support elements into our offering portfolio. But is it relevant to the customer? Is it linked to the buyer's utilities or buyer's usefulness? Typically this is captured through an exercise called QFD or quality function deployment. We'll give you a quick overview of that as we go into the details. Step number 4 is sharpen your offering through blue ocean principles. So we are firm believer of the blue ocean principles. You may already be aware of it. So we'll touch upon this as we go into the relevant slide. Number 5 is how is this value fitting in the value pyramid. It's very important. You are packing certain elements of value or benefits in your product or solution or a service. How it is actually impacting and gaining acceptance in the value pyramid. Number 6 is customer benefit articulation. Now you have packed the value, you have provided the necessary elements which you believe will reinforce the value of your product or solution and service. You need to articulate it. You need to articulate it qualitatively and quantitatively so that the customer can understand and relate it to their relevance and context. And number 7 is ensure continued protection of the customer's interest. Now that's very important. If you have sold a product or a solution or a service, this cannot be just a one-time transactional sales. If you are in a B2B business and if you are planning to have your business scaling over the next few years, every engagement that you have needs to be as much as possible a long-term value-added strategic engagement. And so this point number 7 is very crucial, that you do not look at an engagement from a transaction perspective but from a strategic perspective, and make sure that you are ensuring the protection of the customer's interest over a long term. Now when you are approaching the value or building the value in this stepwise method, you also should involve some people who can share their insights, thoughts, and can enrich the whole exercise. And who are those people? Number 1 could be early adopters, meaning you are designing a new product or you are adding a new features to your services. Talk to the early adopters and bounce it with them. Number 2 could be the possible technical collaborators. You are building a machine, you are incorporating certain features, functions, you are taking help or collaborating with certain other partners. So you must also bounce off your idea with the technical collaborators so that you don't go wrong when you launch the product or solution. And finally, the channel partners. So you are not alone in the today's world, as we know. I mean, the competition is not between companies, it is between networks. So the possible channel partners, it can be your resellers, it can be your referral partners, your agents, it can be technology partners. Please try to bounce off these ideas with them and ensure they also understand and they can also share the thoughts and inputs, because at the end of the day, this is a collective effort. You're going out to the market and everybody has a stake in it. You need to have a collective win, that too for a long-term basis. Now, we have also, in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to cover how you can think in a new or different way to solve a problem. This is just a corollary. Initially, we thought we might not add this, but then the suggestions from our clients came, no, we should add this. So this is how it is. So let's look at the grid which is presented on the slide. Any system you take, okay, it can be, there are 3 stages of that system. Okay, past, present and future, and any system has 3 I would say components. One is the system, the second is the subsystem, and the third can be the super system. For example, let me give you an example. So this is a pen. Okay, so generally in this exercise we start with the cell which is highlighted where the system you are here in under the present column. So let's think about this pen. So this is the present system. What is the subsystem of this pen? The subsystem of this pen is this, you know, the refill, the cap, the cascade. These are the subsystems, meaning the elements or components which go to make the pen. The super system is the ecosystem where the pen works, meaning the temperature, the surface, where the pen works. Okay. So let's understand what can be the past. What was there in the past, how the pen has evolved in terms of as a whole system, as subsystem and super systems. Okay. For example, we know thousands of years back we didn't have anything like this. People used to use, you know, on the packages they used to write with feathers, and that is how then we have come a long way. And now future we have gone into a way of having a digital pen. So you can see not only has the system changed, the super system has also changed, because we are using it on a tablet, on a computer surface. So similarly the subsystem has also changed. So when you are thinking of innovating a product, this is a very structured way of deconstructing the product and reconstructing it back to give you a more thought and insight of how the direction can be taken to build something new. This can be ascribed to not only product, to your service, to solutions, to anything. And to do that, there is a very proven technique called Scamper. You may be already aware of this concept. Scamper is an acronym. It stands, A stands for substitute, C is for combine, A is for adapt, M is for modify, P is for put to other use, E is for eliminate, and R is to reduce. So when you are trying to build a new product, new solutions, new services, you need to be very clear about how can I substitute certain things, how can I combine certain aspects of this product offering or the portfolio, how can I adapt it to certain other situation, how can I modify it, how can I put it to some other use. Now right now maybe for example this pen is used to write on the paper. Can I put it to some other use? Can I make it enabled to write it on a whiteboard or a wall? So you know, these are the thought process which gives rise to new ideas, new thoughts, and enable you to take the product or an offering to the next level. Similarly, can we eliminate certain usage of features? Can we reduce certain features and functionalities? So this is how you generate the idea. It goes into the funnel, and from the funnel you kind of take it out. When you are doing it, there are certain caveats. We always say avoid these 4 pitfalls. Number 1, don't go for narrow framing. Keep your thought, keep your expanse fast, wider, horizon wider. Number 2 is we always, when we start thinking about a new offering or a product or solution, we are generally bogged down by availability bias. What does it mean? It means that whatever resources we have currently, we start thinking aligned to that. Okay, if I have that, then I can do this. Don't bother yourself to be constricted by availability bias. Number 3 is anchoring. So typically what happens is in a discussion, we get anchored to certain specific idea. Okay, this product can use only for this. Don't think about that. You have to kind of release your mind from anchoring. And the 4th is group thinking. If in a group, if you are doing a brainstorming, If there are 5 people, generally if 3 people think this is what it's going to be, generally the majority tend to go in that direction. So try to avoid group thinking that way. Group thinking can be done to poke holes in a plan, but not to kind of devise this kind of thought process. So this is the caveat. So next, let's go step by step as I was discussing. This is step number 1. Identify an opportunity or a problem to solve. How do we do that? What are the steps? Typically, a product idea can germinate and evolve based on certain realities. What are these realities? There are 6 realities we take into consideration to evolve the product idea. Number 1 is the technology change which is happening. Number 2 is what is the change in customer demand which is going ahead today. Number 3 is the competitive forces where they are playing. Number 4 are the economic forces where they are playing today. Number 5 is social factors, and number 6 is the legal and regulatory factors. So these are the 6 factors which you have to take into consideration when you are arriving at any product or a solution or a service idea, or you are trying to upgrade your product or solution, or you are trying to adapt your services to certain specific situations. So how do we then plan about that? First is you start with the value proposition. What exactly you want to kind of do with this? Okay. Next, and we will detail it out in one of our subsequent slides. Next is the value creation. So this, this is what you are going to do. What are the things you need? You need resources, you need capabilities, and you need the value chain arrangement. So outline that very clearly. Third is that you have to be very clear about how are you capturing the value through your revenue generation model and the cost structure. And fourth is how you are going to deliver this value in terms of market segment, customer relationship, distributor, channel. So these are the things which go into making the first step in the value defining and packing. You are identifying an opportunity or a problem to solve. This is how you do that. So this is step number 1 out of the 7 steps that we talked about. This is the step number 1 to define and pack value into your product, solution or service. So let's now move into the step number 2, which is who is my ideal customer. Now that we have defined, we have identified an area and opportunity, taking into consideration the 6 elements or 6 factors we discussed about: the legal factor, social factor, changing customer demand factors. We talked about economic factors. We talked about competitive forces. So based on that, we have arrived at an idea, or we have identified an opportunity or a problem to solve. Now, who is this for? This has to be very clearly defined. If we don't define who is this for, we will not be able to articulate value and do justice when we are doing the value delivery. So how do we do that? We have to be very clear in understanding the customer segment. What type of customer does this actually relate to? Is it public sector, private sector? What should be the revenue of that kind of a customer? What should be the employee size? Which industry should they belong to? What should be their domain? What geography? I mean, will it work only in US or Canada, or will it work across the world? Is it only for tropical countries? This product, solution, services, where does this work for? So this has to be very clearly defined. Then we have to understand who could be the decision maker, influencer and budget owner for this kind of a purchase. Because when you are defining the value, until and unless you define it in a way which resonates with the decision maker, influencer and budget owners, you will not be able to make much headway. And the fourth aspect is complementary technology environment. So for example, you are building a product or you are building a solution and services for a specific technology or a specific environment. So you have to ensure that you have actually built it so that it is optimized for this environment. Otherwise, there would be a misfit or a mismatch, and it could lead to heartburns later. So this is step number 2, who is your ideal customer. Then let's move to step number 3, is linking buyer utilities to product offerings. So in the step 1, we have identified the opportunity or the problem we want to solve. In step 2, what we have done is we have identified whom the problem we are solving for. And here we are delving a little deeper and linking the buyer utilities with the product offerings. What we mean by that is that if we are packing features A, B, C, D, or functionalities or service or solutions aspects A, B, C, D into our offering, how is it linked to the customer's benefits? And there is a way for doing that, and one of the very effective way is quality function deployment, where you actually link the customer's requirement and the features and functionalities in a diagrammatic way. And it's a very strong tool, and if you need help on this tool further, you can contact us and we'll be kind of helping you and guiding you on this. But you can also do a bit of a googling and understand how this quality function deployment works. But this is a very important tool and a very important concept to power the linkage between the buyer utilities and your offerings. So this is step number 3. Step number 4 is sharpen your offerings through blue ocean ideation. I hope you are aware of blue ocean concept. This concept came a few years back. Blue ocean is where we are able to push our product or solutions or services to an uncontested marketplace, where we become the trailblazer and people or the competitors try and play catch-up game with us. Now, before we implement the blue ocean ideation, we need to understand what can be the source of differentiation for our offerings, whether it's products, solutions, and services. So we have enlisted 7 source of differentiations. This can be the product itself. This can be the services. So we have differentiation here. It can be the availability, meaning the way you are making your product, solution, service available to your customer can be a source of differentiation. Number 4 can be the delivery. The way you are making your delivery happen, that can be also a source of differentiation for you. Support, the way the after-sale support you provide, that can also differentiate you from your competitors. Then the engagement model. Now there can be, you can design different ways of engaging with your customers. You can offer multiple engagement options to your customer, and they can pick and choose which is suitable for them. So this can be a source of differentiation. Then you can be very creative with your pricing strategy. So this can be a source of differentiation. So there can be many more, but we have just enlisted 7 of them just to drive the idea. So these are the source of differentiation. Now, how do you apply the blue ocean principle here? In the blue ocean principle, there are 4 initiatives which are termed as critical: eliminate, raise, create, and reduce. Eliminate means the factors which the industry has already taken for granted, you need to eliminate it. Let me give you an example. For example, you are building a software, and today you are shipping it through CDs. Now the industry doesn't expect you to ship through CDs, because today what happens? You build up the software, most of them are SaaS based software, and you just need a link to download it. So if you are still shipping your software through CDs, it's something which the industry doesn't require, so it has to be eliminated. So I'm giving you a very day-to-day example so that you can understand. Now you have to identify those factors in your business, in your offerings, which you need to eliminate. Similarly, raise. Raise means which are the factors which can be raised above the industry standards. So for example, your response time. If the average response time in the industry for a critical support issue is say 4 hours, can we make it 3 hours? So this can be improved. Quality aspects, can we raise it above the industry standard? Okay. So these are the ideation. Third is create. What is it? We can create newly which is not available in the market. What factors we can build into our offering which nobody is even considered as of today. Now you may or may not have it right now, but these are the principles of blue ocean ideation which you need to be consciously aware of. You need to ideate on this. You need to imbibe these principles and make it a regular feature in your day-to-day value offering thinking. And finally, there is reduce. Which are the factors I can reduce? For example, defects that you need to reduce. For example, the accepted defects for say a consignment of 100 ton of consignment may be X. So can we be 50% of X in a 100 kg consignment, 100 ton consignment? So these are some of the things which you need to think about, and think from this enlisted 7 aspects: the features, service, availability, delivery, where we can apply 1, 2 or all of these 4 principles of blue ocean ideation and pack enhanced value into my offering. And typically the outcome would be, if you do this, if you subject these 7 elements: product, service, availability, delivery, support, engagement and pricing, to the blue ocean ideation, the outcome is either a new offering or an updated, vastly updated offering, or an adapted offering, meaning an offering which is now adapted for a different usage, for a different application. So either way you are benefiting from this. So it's a very important aspect of value creation. That is why we have put it in step 4. So next we move on to the step 5, which is, now that you have understood the value journey and you have created value and you have packed value through the blue ocean ideation, you have to be very clear about where does this product, service or solution fit into the value pyramid of your target industry. Now that's very, very crucial. Typically what happens is, when we if you look at the value pyramid, you will see the value actually increases as we move from bottom to top. At the bottom, typically where you will find many players, and the benefits which they are providing is maybe enhancing the efficiency, providing savings, providing convenience or compliance. These are all important benefits, but this is at the base level. Okay, next comes the technology or the architectural value, meaning you are offering a product or a solution or a service which is not necessarily a generic enough and considering only bringing savings and efficiency, but also enabling the customer with certain architectural or technological inputs which is new, which is different and which is relevant to their business. Third thing is business process. So you are moving up the value chain. So you are offering something which is taking into consideration, in addition to the first 2 layers, the business process. So you are a specialized, knowledgeable, expert practitioner with your product and solutions about certain process. Maybe it can be the procurement process, it can be a supply chain management process, it can be a certain manufacturing process. So your product, solutions and services is geared to offer specialized benefit on this specific process because you are an expert practitioner. So you are moving up the value chain. Now next comes the industry. So we have mastered the efficiency savings, we have mastered technology architecture, we have mastered maybe the process related expertise, and now we are saying we are specialized for this industry. It can be a manufacturing industry. For manufacturing industry, our product, solution, services geared to solve this problem. Maybe it's for a healthcare industry. It's maybe for an engineering industry. It can be for a retail industry. So you have to be very clear about where your fitment is in terms of the value pyramid. And finally, what we have at the top is what we call the custom, meaning this is for a specialized customer. That means you are producing or offering a solution through a combination of your product services which is typically attributable only for a specific customer situation. So as you can make out, and we have put it in the arrow right to the pyramid, the value increases from bottom to top, and so does your margin. The more value you can capture in your offering, the higher the revenue you generate from a single order and higher the margin that you make in a single order, because you are able to relate to the customer's problem and capturing a progressively higher value as you move from the bottom of the pyramid to the top of the pyramid. This cannot be done overnight. This is a journey, but this is how we typically do the fitment and aspire to climb up the value chain and be more relevant and more valuable to our customers. Then comes the step number 6. Step number 6 we have divided into 2 parts, 6A and 6B. We'll come to that. Number 1 is typically when we buy a product. Say for example, I am a B2B purchaser, business to business purchaser. I'm looking for a business to business product or a solution or a service. When I buy the product, I look into 2 aspects. What are the gains I am making in terms of the usage benefits, and what are the pains I am trying to get relieved of. So based on Bizwin's research, with our 250 man years of collective experience and wisdom, we have done extensive research and we have found out that there are many gain areas which a B2B decision maker considers while making a purchase decision, but we have enlisted the 7 most popular and common decisions which come into the play when a B2B decision maker makes a decision or a purchase. Which are those? Number 1 is increased top line, meaning, hey vendor, I will buy your product or service if it helps me increase my top line. Number 2, if it helps me reduce my cost or helps me improve my savings. Number 3, if it enhances the quality of my offerings. I have my product, I have my solution. If your product or solution is enabling me to improve the quality of my product, I'll be interested to hear more about your product or solution or service. Number 4 is it enabling me to sharpen the competitiveness? I am in a competitive space. Is your product or solution or service enabling me to become more competitive in my market? Then I can consider your product or a solution. Number 6 is your product or solution or service helping me with statutory and regulatory compliance? That is a must for my business. So if your product or solution or service is helping me with that, I am game for your product. And number 7 is you as an expert practitioner have come to me and said, hey sir, I believe you may have these challenges which you may not be aware at all. So you are talking about a need which I have not considered at all. So if you are able to identify a need which needs to be fulfilled but I have not considered, you have identified it as a practitioner, as an expert, and I am all ears. I would love to hear more about it and obviously I have to consider your product, solutions or service. So these are typically the 7 gain areas. There can be a few more. This is from our research. These are the main gain areas or the common gain areas we have identified. Similarly, there are 7 pain areas we have identified which come into a play for the B2B decision makers. What are those? Number 1 is, hey guy, you have a product or a solution. Do I have anytime, anywhere access of this? Number 2, do I have 24/7 support? See, every customer wants a neck to catch if something goes wrong. So as a seller, we must provide that comfort to the customer that, hey customer, if something goes wrong, I am there for you. That's very important. That assurance, that comfort is very important for the customer. So 24/7 support comes as some kind of a pain reliever for them. Number 3, is your product or solution improving the physical safety or the digital safety of my organization? Then I will consider your product or solution or service. Number 4, I am the CEO, I am the decision maker. I have certain worries. I have to live with it. I go to bed every night with those worries. Is your product or solution or services enabling me to diminish my day-to-day concerns and worries? Then I will consider your product or solutions. Number 5, you know what? I have a large organization or I have a mid-sized organization. I am the CEO, but I see my employees, whether it can manufacturing, healthcare or whatever it is, in the shop floor, in the sales or in the operations, I see my employees making certain common mistakes. In spite of my inputs, they still are not improving. Is your product or solution or service help us eradicate these common mistakes? This is a very powerful point, powerful pain relieving point for me, the CEO, the decision maker. Number 6, you are coming with a product, solution or service, you are talking about latest technologies, techniques and all. I as a user may or may not understand that kind of technology or techniques. You tell me that the adoption and the learning cycle for your product is very, very short. Then I will be more inclined to listen to you. Because for me, you are coming as an expert, or you should come in as an expert who will lower the technology adoption barrier for me. Then I can consider you. And finally is, I am running this business as a CEO of this company. I am considering you as a vendor. Are you able to mitigate certain risks that I have today? It can be technology risk, it can be process risk, it can be business risk. What are the risks you can mitigate, or what are the constraints you can perhaps mitigate? So these are the gain and pain equation which goes through a decision maker's mind. So we have to be very clear when we are qualifying and quantifying the benefits. So let's see, this is about the qualification of the benefits. Then how do we quantify the benefits? Now there's a tool for that, and if you are interested, Bizwin would love to kind of share that tool with you and give you guidance on how to use those tools. Typically what happens is, number one is that we believe that the way to kind of create a compelling value proposition is by making sure that you are not only taking the customer's interest or considering the customer interest in the current scenario, but you are also protecting the customer's interest in the long run. Please understand, in today's competitive world, thought leaders do not sell only on current competence. They sell on current competence plus future competence. Now that's very important. So if you are building value into your product or a solution or a service, you must think 2 years or 3 years ahead and start planning how this product would look like as version 2, version 3 or version 4 down the years. And when you are in a selling situation with your customer, please share that roadmap. That creates a distinct advantage for you, because then you give that message to the customer, hey customer, I'm not only solving today's problems, I'm also investing and thinking about solving your tomorrow's problems. And B, the customer understands that you are a thought leader, you are an expert in your space, so it's more reliable to work with you. So these are the two aspects which get addressed when you adopt this approach of sharing the offering roadmap with your customer. This is more of a value reinforcement and gaining the confidence of your customer. If you need any help, any hand-holding, our contact information is there at the bottom, and we'll be happy to help you, happy to handhold you and delve deeper into each aspect of the elements that we discussed today. Once again, thank you very much and you have a great day. Thanks a lot.